you say it without thinking. Your child finishes a drawing, hands it to you, and you say it. Your child ties their shoes for the first time, and you say it. Your child gets a B on a test, and you say it. 2 words. Automatic. Warm. Completely natural. Good job. It feels like love. It sounds like encouragement. But according to decades of psychological research, those 2 words may be quietly doing something to your child's brain that you never intended. Something that makes them more anxious, less resilient, and more afraid to try anything difficult. And the strangest part? The more you mean it, the more damage it can do. To understand why, you have to go back to the 1960s, to a small laboratory at Stanford University, where a psychologist named Carol Dweck began asking a question no one had thought to ask before. Why do some children fall apart when things get hard, while others get more determined? Why do some kids give up after one failure, while others treat failure like a clue? Dweck spent 40 years chasing that question. And what she found rewrote everything we thought we knew about motivation, praise, and the developing mind. She discovered that children do not just differ in how smart they are. They differ in what they believe about intelligence itself. Some children have what she called a fixed mindset. They believe their abilities are set. They were born smart or they were not. They are talented or they are not. And every test, every drawing, every performance is just revealing which category they fall into. Other children have what she called a growth mindset. They believe abilities are built. That effort, struggle, and failure are not signs of weakness. They are the mechanism of growth itself. Here's what makes this terrifying for parents. You are shaping which mindset your child develops every single time you open your mouth. And the phrase most parents say most often, "good job," is quietly building the fixed mindset without you even knowing it. Here is how. When you say good job, what your child's brain actually hears is not just a compliment. It hears a judgment. A verdict. A label. Their brain files it away as evidence of what they are, not what they did. And that changes everything about how they approach the next challenge. Dweck ran a study in the late 1990s that became one of the most replicated experiments in developmental psychology. She gave children a set of moderately difficult puzzles to solve. All the children did reasonably well. Then she split them into 2 groups. She praised one group for their intelligence. She told them they must be really smart. She praised the other group for their effort. She told them they must have worked really hard. Then she gave both groups a choice. They could take an easier set of puzzles, or a harder one. The children praised for being smart overwhelmingly chose the easier puzzles. The children praised for effort overwhelmingly chose the harder ones. Read that again. A single sentence of praise changed what children were willing to try. The children called smart had something to protect now. A reputation. An identity. And the fastest way to protect a reputation for being smart is to never do anything that might prove you are not. So they played it safe. They chose easy. They avoided risk. The children praised for effort had nothing to protect. Effort is something you can always give more of. So they leaned in. Then Dweck made it worse. She gave both groups a genuinely difficult set of puzzles. Puzzles hard enough that almost no one could solve them. And she watched what happened. The smart praised children deteriorated. They became frustrated, anxious, and defeated. Many of them lied about how well they had done when asked to report their scores. They had learned that their worth was tied to their performance, and when performance failed, so did they. The effort praised children did something completely different. They became more engaged. They tried harder. They stayed longer. And when it was over, many of them said it was their favorite part of the experiment. Same children. Same puzzles. Completely different experience of failure. The only difference was the sentence said to them before they started. Now think about your living room. Think about the car ride home from school. Think about the dinner table. How many times a day are you handing your child a label instead of a lesson? Good job says, you are good. Bad job says, you are bad. Neither one tells a child what to do with their brain. Neither one teaches them anything about the process, the effort, the strategy, the persistence. They just describe outcomes. And a brain that is tracking outcomes is a brain that is terrified of bad ones. The psychologist Wendy Grolnick at Clark University spent years studying what she called controlling versus autonomy supportive parenting, and her findings run parallel to Dweck's. When parents use what Grolnick calls ego-involved praise, the kind that ties a child's worth to their performance, children develop what researchers call contingent self-worth. Their sense of value becomes entirely dependent on external feedback. They feel good when praised. They feel worthless when they are not. This is not just abstract psychology. You can see it in behavior. These are the children who need constant reassurance before starting anything. These are the children who dissolve at the first sign of criticism. These are the children who perform beautifully in front of an audience and crumble the moment the audience disappears. They are not performing for the joy of doing. They are performing for the applause. And they cannot function without it. A neuroscientist named Nim Tottenham at Columbia University has studied how reward signals work in the developing brain, and her work reveals something important. The brain of a child is extraordinarily sensitive to social feedback. A parent's approval is not just emotionally meaningful. It is neurologically significant. It activates the same reward circuitry as food, safety, and warmth. Which means when you praise your child for who they are instead of what they did, you are not just giving them a compliment. You are plugging their sense of safety directly into your approval. And now they need your approval to feel safe. Not just to feel good. To feel safe. That is an enormous burden to put on a child's nervous system. Because the world will not always approve. Teachers will not always approve. Friends will not always approve. And a child who has been trained to need approval to feel secure will meet ordinary disappointment as if it were catastrophe. So what do you say instead? This is where parents often feel stuck. Because the alternative to good job sounds strange at first. It sounds less warm. Less enthusiastic. Almost clinical. But it is not. It is something much more powerful. You describe what you see. You ask what they noticed. You focus on the process. Instead of good job on that drawing, you say the way you used all those colors together is really interesting. What made you choose green for the sky? Instead of you are so smart, you say you stuck with that problem even when it got really hard. That kind of thinking is going to take you a long way. The difference is not tone. It is content. One sentence tells a child what they are. The other sentence tells a child what they did, and what they are capable of doing more of. Dweck calls this process praise, and it changes the architecture of motivation. Instead of protecting an identity, a child begins building a skill. Instead of avoiding failure, they begin learning from it. Instead of performing for you, they begin working for themselves. And here is the counterintuitive twist that changes everything. Children raised with process praise do not become less confident. They become more confident. Because their confidence is not borrowed from your approval. It is built from their own experience of effort and growth. It does not disappear the moment something goes wrong. It is the thing that helps them figure out what to do next. This is the difference between fragile confidence and durable confidence. Fragile confidence needs constant reinforcement. Durable confidence gets stronger every time it meets resistance. Look at the world your child is growing into. It is a world that will challenge them in ways you cannot predict and cannot protect them from. They will fail at things. They will be rejected from things. They will work hard on things that do not work out. The question is not whether difficulty will find them. The question is whether they will have the internal equipment to meet it. That equipment is not built by telling them they are smart. It is built by teaching them that their brain grows every time it struggles. Dweck's research found that children who understand this fact about neuroplasticity, That the brain literally changes and grows when it encounters difficulty, show measurable improvements in motivation, persistence, and academic performance. Not because they got smarter. Because they stopped being afraid of the feeling of not yet knowing. Not yet. 2 words that carry more power than good job ever could. Your child did not get it right yet. They have not figured it out yet. They are not there yet. Yet is not a failure. Yet is a direction. So the next time your child hands you a drawing or shows you a grade or finishes a puzzle, resist the reflex. Instead of the 2 words that end the conversation, try the words that open it. Tell them what you noticed. Ask them what was hard. Remind them that the struggle they just felt is not a sign that they cannot do it. It is the sound of their brain getting bigger. And 20 years from now, when they are sitting across from a problem that feels impossible, when everyone around them is giving up, when there is no audience left to perform for, they will reach inside themselves for something you gave them. Not a label. Not a verdict. A belief. A durable, unbreakable belief that effort is the point, and the struggle is the path. That is what good job was always trying to say. You just found a better way to say it.